Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Who's that?
All right, we're live on YouTube.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Mr. Dangler,
Yes.
Dr. Vogt,
Here.
Mrs. Wittes,
Here.
Dr. Selly,
Here.
Mr. Vieira.
Here.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper and adequate and electronic notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and New Jersey Administrative Code, Title 5, Chapter 39, Section 1.5, Notice of Remote Public Meetings as required by law.
Thank you. Our first item on the agenda, 111 Park Avenue Agreement. Mr. Jackson and Ms. Krimko.
Good evening. How is everybody?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
May I begin?
Yeah, go
Sure.
ahead, Jennifer.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Jennifer Krimko, and Silverman and Aaron here on behalf of the owner of the property. We were successful in obtaining variance relief to construct a tennis court on the subject property. As part of that, we proposed a very significant landscape plan to beautify the front of this parcel, which is next to the original parcel where the house sits, which included repeating the rhythm of the street trees down in front of the wall.
Okay.
Because the street trees we're proposing are in the city's right-of-way, the resolution was conditioned on us getting approval from the city to actually locate the trees there. If I could share my screen,
Sure.
I need to be enabled.
Will,
One sec here. Hmm. Okay, try now.
Yep. No, it still says disabled.
Oh. Like I said, another update.
I think you have to make me co-host to do it.
Yeah, that might be. Make co-host. Yes.
I've done this a few
Are you
hundred
trying to
times.
share the map? Because I think the council has.
No, I'm not. So here it is. So
Yeah.
what's shown here is an exhibit that we presented in front of the zoning board, and the house at 111 is shown here. And you could see the beautiful gate and pillars. The clients purchased the lot next door. There was a home on it. It's no longer there. The lot's been fully cleaned up. What they're proposing to do is to propose all this, extend the wall that already exists in front of 111 and propose these street trees and some flowers within the city's right-of-way. If you take a look at the plot plan, which I'm showing now, here is the property line. And you can figure out where the property line is because the existing hedges on that property are kind of right there. We're basically proposing to get rid of the old unsightly hedges and plant a series of 6 trees with the wall behind it on our property and the remainder of the landscaping. There are 3 significant trees within the frontage. Those are not being proposed to be removed. As you can see on the plan, on the second sheet, they are preserved with tree protection as part of the construction. Then in addition to all the improvements on the front, we're also proposing to heavily landscape around the tennis court as well. So what we're basically here seeking from you is permission to beautify your right-of-way.
okay.
You just go to engineering.
So my question on that, Lou, I've had the opportunity to look at it. My only issue would be that the owner be required to maintain those trees, whether it be watering. The city should be held harmless, and in the event we need to come in to do any right-of-way work in the future, it has to be disclosed and acknowledged.
100%. Agreed. And,
Now-
you know, If I
This
could
wall-
just add, the client, unknowing it was the right of way, actually has planted similar trees along the curb in front of 111 already and has been continuing to maintain it for all of these years without any issue. So we would agree to that for the entirety of the frontage of the property, including the existing trees.
The new masonry wall, will that be constructed in the right of way or?
Absolutely not, Mr. Vieira.
Okay.
I wouldn't even dare ask for that
I
permission.
didn't think so. All right, thank you. Mr.
So Ms.
Jackson?
Krimko, Ms. Krimko, just to confirm, you're not removing any trees. In fact, you're adding trees, correct?
That's correct. We're only removing old aged shrubs to replace them with street trees and flowers.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, do you have anything else you need to add on?
No, I had spoken to the engineer and the city attorney about this, and because our ordinance requires your approval, I had invited Ms. Krimko to appear before you tonight. So I believe, Lou, would you or Jennifer draw up an agreement just to codify everything we talked about tonight?
Yes.
And we could have that on for the next agenda, and her client can get on with their improvements, I assume.
Okay, and what I would ask, Mr. Jackson, Libby Waterbury, the board engineer, has
Mhm.
indicated that if the council agrees to act favorably and authorize this, she's not going to hold it up for any resolution or adoption of an agreement, just that someone from the city let her know that the council authorized it. So if the board, sorry, you can tell I appear in front of boards a lot. If the council agrees favorably to allow us to do that, I just ask that you have Mr. Jackson reach out to Libby Waterbury and let her know so we can get our resolution compliance letter and start construction.
Okay.
I have a question. If we allow this to be done, is that considered like squatter's right, so to speak, and at some
No,
point?
so adverse possession requires it to be adverse. So if we grant permission for it to be there, it's not adverse, so they could not obtain title to the property by adverse possession. That's, by the way, why we would do an agreement.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other council members have any questions for Ms. Krimko?
No questions.
No for me.
Everybody okay with this, or has anybody object?
I'm okay.
Okay,
okay.
good, thank you. All right, thank you, we're good.
Thank you very much. And George, you'll let Libby know?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I appreciate it. Everyone have a great night. I'm going to enjoy myself in Tinton Falls with no air conditioning.
Okay, good night.
Take care.
Good night. Okay, our second item, extra mile, Councilwoman Vogt.
Okay, thank you, Council President. So this is the second time that I'm coming to you with this idea of that we're kind of naming for the love of Long Branch. You'll probably remember that last November 1st, we had it was declared Extra Mile Day, Extra Mile America, and that's a national movement that is intended to recognize volunteerism. And so the last time I spoke with you about it, it was the idea of not just having one day, but to kind of extend that whole spirit throughout the year. And I think the council was generally in favor of the concept, but you came back and said, give us a few more specifics of how that would work, specifically in terms of how would awardees be selected, what would be some of the criteria, and how this would work. So Heather actually sent, this was a little bit late for getting in the packet, but she sent the revised form that I hope you had a chance to look at. Let me just highlight some parts of that revised information so that you know what we're talking about now. So the way it would work is each month the mayor and city council will select an awardee based on the positive impact, the scope, and the long-term sustainability of the nominee's actions. Anybody can submit, can nominate somebody. We're looking at this to have a short form on the website that people can, fill out a form, submit it. The council would review the nominees and select somebody once a month. And then once a year, we would have just kind of like an overall celebratory kind of event where all of the awardees would be recognized. And their names will be listed on the website. They'll get a certificate and all that kind of nice recognition, those nice recognition activities. So what we said as far as next steps would be to have, if the mayor and if the city council endorses the idea, we'll design a certificate and we'll work on getting the information up on the website. And I would think that probably this November 1st, when it rolls around again for Extra Mile Day, might be an appropriate time for us to launch For the Love of Long Branch as our version of the Extra Mile Day.
Who will take the lead on this? Would it be one of the council members, council president, or would it be like Lindsay, or be our clerk?
I see it. I don't mind taking the lead on it, working with Heather and probably Lindsay.
Okay.
If that's okay with Mayor and George to include them on this project.
Sure.
How's the rest? I'm okay with that, Anita. I'm okay with that. How's the rest of the council feel about this?
Sounds okay to me.
It's okay with me also, but I still think we have some specifics to nail down. I think
Okay.
Mario asked the most important question: who's going to be who has the overall responsibility for this?
Well, like I said, I don't mind taking a leadership role on this to get it implemented. Well, I guess maybe, John, where would something like this rightfully be housed? Would it be a council activity, or would it become?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can tell you is that many years ago, when I was on council, many years ago, there was it wasn't exactly like this, but and again, I think you can do it several ways, but back in the day, it was each council person was responsible for a given month or the period that somebody was selected. So that, if I remember correctly, and I'm not exactly being, this is from recollection, that there would be submissions and, it would be on a rotating basis that one council person would take the lead and be the sponsor of that particular individual or group then. So there'd be some sort of collective discussion amongst the council. I don't remember if the administration was involved or not, but I'm sure they were as well. But it seemed to be that it was at least that format was that a particular council member on a rotating basis would be responsible for the next individual or group being selected. So when someone was chosen for 1 month or every other month or whatever it was, then another council person would take over the responsibility for the next one. But again, that was one option. I don't know.
I guess two questions. First of all, what's the council's, thought on that? Do we do this on a rotating basis? And also, how did it work, Rose and the mayor, when we were doing the honoring the employee of the month? Kind of who was responsible for making sure that happened every month?
At the time, they would nominate somebody during the administrative meeting that they had every other week.
In our staff meeting, we would have the
Right.
department heads offer up an employee for consideration.
Correct.
And but again, what does the council kind of feel about having rotating responsibility with it?
Now, these people, Anita, that you want to nominate, it's just people from the city, anybody, I guess would be anybody that you'll find outside. So what happens if we don't really come up with anybody, any ideas, any person specific? So, you know, right now, I can't really tell you the truth. Right now, I'm in a position that I don't really have anybody that I can name to you right now. But next month, it might change. And if the rest of the council have that same problem that I'm having right now, what do you suggest?
Well, we certainly can't force this.
Yeah,
So maybe we let it evolve. And, you know, if we don't have somebody every month, we celebrate and recognize the people as they are being nominated. So,
Yeah.
you know, and then, you know, as if it grows, if people are interested, if they feel that it's a positive statement and a positive way of recognizing people who go over and above for Long Branch, you know, hopefully would pick up some energy on its own. But, you know, we would see how it would progress. I don't think we can, I don't think it serves anybody well to say, you know, who are we doing this month? We didn't get anything. You know, we need to find somebody.
no, but we can also put it on a mayor's and the city's website. If it doesn't have to be us picking, it could be an outside, it could be a public pick and somebody, you know, anybody out there, you know what I mean? And then we pick one of those that was suggested, you know what I mean?
That was my thinking, Mario. You know, our employee of the month, I think those types of events are always wonderful. That's looking inside at our administration and our employees, and certainly we want to celebrate our employees. This is looking at a different group. You know, this is looking at, you know, for example, Kathy, who does so much with Jackson Woods, you know, a volunteer that just has totally gone over and above.
I mean, Anita, if I could jump in, I think well, let me start by saying, I think there's going to be no shortage of people we could, you know, recognize at the city. I mean, just think, just during the pandemic alone, just all the residents who've gone, you know, above and beyond. But beyond that, you know, I think you could do it in multiple ways. Remember, we had the hometown hero video during the pandemic last year, and that was done, I believe, on the website, where people would nominate, you know, fellow employees or neighbors or whoever that they were aware of. You know, that was a bigger scale thing. But, you know, I think there's various ways you could do that. And I think you've mentioned them, but there's certainly not going to be a shortage of people who I think we see every day, certainly during the pandemic, but even at any given time in Long Branch, you go above and beyond.
Okay. You want, how's the rest of the council feel before we close this subject?
I'm fine with it.
I'm okay. I'm not all the way comfortable with rotating, you know, different council being responsible. I thought we might just submit it to whatever the particular committee is, and then they choose from there. But I'm comfortable with the basic concept.
I'm all right with it too. I think it needs a little work though.
Okay, so you got that, Anita. So we'll get together and we'll find out what needs to be done, and we'll take care of it.
Good.
Okay,
Okay,
we
thank
good?
you very much.
Thank you. All right. Review of the regular meeting agenda. Does anybody have any questions regarding the agenda?
Yeah.
No questions.
All right, but then no questions. I need a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? I need to a motion to adopt a resolution to go into executive session for the following items: personnel, police department, contract negotiations, municipal pool, Lower Broadway, Riparian zone, mitigation plan, cannibals, project labor agreement, bike path, and the bluffs.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Will?
Council President, could,
Yes, just 1 second here. I